Hello, welcome back everyone to liamheuser's YouTube channel. I'm frequent guest Jack Jump. It's been a long time since we've done this, Liam. There's been a lot of rumors as to what has happened, why we haven't done this in how long would you say, about 8 months, 9 months,
6 months, maybe 8 months seems long.
Yeah, something like that. There's been a lot of rumors going around as to what's been going on and where we have been. I'm not going to dignify a lot of the crazy ones with a response because they're crass and I don't appreciate them. But needless to say, we are back, and I'll say better than ever. I think, Liam, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm very happy and very excited to be back. Thank you so much for having me on, by the way. I'm excited to get this series back going. Now, there is one question I have. Where is your little brother, CPH?
That is a great question. I suppose this would be a good time to introduce myself. My name is Liam Heuser. This is my YouTube channel. Jack, thanks for being on, by the way.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being on. And I am a musician. I'm a singer, a songwriter, a guitarist. I play in the band Kruiser. I also release solo music, which you can check out on all available streaming platforms. You can check out my latest single, Rewind Button, on all those streaming platforms. You can also go to the links below, check me out on other social media, and I got a show coming up at the Ottobar in Baltimore, Maryland on November 21st. I'll link the tickets in the description below too. If you want to check that out, that'll be really nice. Now, CPH, I know, we got a lot of mixed responses about him going to the channel. He's a very polarizing figure, I've found.
In my life as well, he is. Personally.
Yes. Yeah, oh yeah, and same here, obviously. He's very,
very divisive figure.
Very divisive figure. You either love him or you hate him. And there's no other way around it. And we love him. We have him on the show. And I saw what Jack did there, and
I'm just joking, of course.
But
I miss CPH every day that he's not in my life.
He wasn't up for this week, and he was a bit busy. He did listen to the album, I'm pretty sure. So I'm curious. I wanted to hear his thoughts on it.
I didn't know that. I would also like to hear his thoughts. As I'm excited to hear your thoughts as well.
I'm excited to hear yours. And he said, "Hey Lee, look, man, I'm real tired. I don't think he was feeling great." And I was like, he's like, "Let me just hop on the next one." And I didn't really want to wait around for the old guy because he wasn't feeling it. So he said, "Let me just hop on the next one." So he got his blessing to do it without him.
Good.
And I'm trying to get the show back up and running. So I think we'll get more CPH in the future. I really hope so. I want him to be on every episode. So hopefully this is the only one he's sitting out on. But
yeah.
As you know, the heart and the soul of the show is Jack and I.
Mm-hmm.
He's more like the icing on top.
Yeah, we're the glue that holds it together.
Uh-huh.
We're like the big boys of the offensive line.
That is a great, yeah. Yeah, so Jack, what's new with you, man?
Not a whole lot. Spent the summer looking for Nordic elves in the Irish Isles. Didn't do well with that. I didn't find any, but it was a fun experience. But other than that, not a whole lot's new. I'm back in home, so that's fun. Get to see my friends and my family, but yeah, it's all really the same. What about you, Liam?
Not much. Like I said, I've been releasing some new songs for everyone to check out. Cruiser's still up and running. We got some plotting what's going to go on with that next with what we want to do show-wise, and just been jamming out, lifting those weights, same stuff. And yeah, just ready to start making good YouTube content again. I felt very inspired to make YouTube content recently because I feel like we got a lot to say. We got a lot to say, man.
And a lot of people want to hear it.
Yeah. A lot of people want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the fourth episode in our series.
Is it? Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
yes, you're right.
Crosby, Stills and Nash, Radiohead, and the Pixies.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers did incredibly. So we figured, I mean, not that we're driven by money.
I am. I would do anything for money.
We'd be silly not to continue.
If anybody wants to sell me out, just name a price. I'll be
All right, well, you guys leave that in the comments.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is actually the oldest album, I believe, not by much,
Yeah,
that
not
we're
by too
covering
much.
so far.
Mm.
It came out in 1967, Summer of Love, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And the album is by a band called Love. The album was called Forever Changes. And correct me if I'm wrong, this might be the only album we've done so far. I'm sure there'll be a lot more that I didn't really knew absolutely nothing about this band.
I didn't even, yeah, I never heard of the band. I looked at their like most famous songs, because usually I feel like with those type of bands, you're like, oh, I didn't realize they made this like one hit that you know was huge that I didn't know. But I knew none of their songs. I had never heard of them. And so yeah, this is one of the first album I've ever reviewed with you, I think, where I knew 0 songs going in.
Even back to our old discography ranking videos, would you?
No, there was a few that I didn't know, but
you were at least aware of them.
I was at least aware of them.
So you were not even aware of this album existing.
Not even aware of the band.
So what was your thoughts when you were like, okay, we're gonna review this album from a '60s band, which has an era with a lot of famous bands.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of bands in which we won't talk about.
Yeah.
And this is on there.
I was surprised it was on there. First and foremost, I was surprised. And I'll be honest, I was dreading it a little bit. I was not, because usually for these albums, and really any album, I like to know at least 1 or 2 songs going in, because that way, if the entire album sucks, I at least have those 1 or 2 songs where I'm like, okay, well, it's like a little checkpoint. So I was a little bit, I guess, nervous going in. But without giving too much away, I'll ask you the same question. How do you feel?
I felt the same exact way, because like, even bands or artists that I don't know well or don't like, Taylor Swift. Sorry, it's too early for that. I mean,
but you know what, Liam? Let me just say real quick. It was a summer of love. Peace, love, rock and roll is going on, and I just want to say Taylor Swift not doing that.
No,
she's not inspiring.
She is not psychedelic.
She's not psychedelic. She's not trying out new things with production and guitars and vocal overlays. She's not doing that.
And I'm so sick of her saying she's psychedelic.
I hate that she says that she is equivalent to, in one person, to the entire summer of love.
I know, it drives me nuts. So, yeah, I was like, okay, so I actually did know a really little bit about Love. I'll get into it later. It was one song I knew by them on this album. So they're from LA. This is the first LA band that we've covered. Wait, is that right?
The Eagles are they're
True.
associated with like LA.
And Crosby, Stills, Nash, they weren't from there, but they were part of like the Laurel Canyon scene.
Yeah.
And this is their 3rd album, actually. So it's not a debut either. And I listened to this album a lot. I'll be honest with you. I listened to it a lot because I was like, I really wanted to understand it.
Yeah.
Because this album is incredibly influential on a lot of people, but it is not that well known. But there's definitely a crowd of folks who love this album. So, the sound of it, how would you describe it?
Very, very, very much of its time, I would say. Came out, like you said, Liam, in 1967. And it was very psychedelic. You could tell that they were just trying to do a whole bunch of new crap. And there was different moments throughout the album where I could hear, like, okay, this definitely inspired, like, Pink Floyd's or, like, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, even though I think that might have came out before. So, like, either they were very much going for the same thing. There was another time, like, vocally, where I could hear a lot of, like, late Beatles stuff. So probably similar, story there. But yeah, no, it was very, very much a product of its time and a glimpse into what I'm sure 1967 psychedelic, doing acid and being a hippie, was like.
Yeah, and I've heard this has been described as orchestral pop,
Oh,
Baroque pop, which is a term I've heard thrown around, but don't know a ton about. Psychedelic, obviously. And, I did a fair bit of research on this album because I like to at least have an understanding, some stuff to talk about, because I feel like, music history is pretty interesting, right?
Yeah.
We like to, usually we get into that a little bit, the context of what it is we listen to. And you can't talk about this band without talking about a gentleman named Arthur Lee.
Oh, almost your name.
Almost my name. But, yeah, he was the singer of this band, and he was a real interesting fellow. This album was recorded. He thought he was going to die. He was doing a lot of drugs. And I found that incredibly interesting, and I feel like that made me understand this album a bit more. The lyrics are very interesting on this album, I would say. I don't know whether you picked that up.
I didn't have time to sit down and read the lyrics as they were going, but I did try my very best to really listen to what they were saying. And yeah, I did know, I was like, this is about some crazy shit, and I knew for a fact that the people in this band were fucking nuts. Just by hearing the music, I was like, these guys have got to be fucking insane.
Yeah.
And I also, again, I didn't do really as much research as you did, Liam. I'm very sorry about that. But I was able to get a lot of inferences and just assume a lot of things. And I assumed it was super influential. It was one of those albums where it was almost like a Deep Purple, where it's like, this is your favorite band's favorite band, but not necessarily your favorite band. Obviously, Deep Purple is much more famous than Love is, but I still kind of think that they fall into that category. But to answer your question, no, I didn't really get too much of the lyrics or anything like that.
Yeah, so this Arthur Lee, this is, like I said, this is their third album. And it's funny you mentioned your favorite band's favorite band, because this, the Doors, Arthur Lee had a hand in getting the Doors signed. They were the same management, I believe. Mm-hmm. The Clash loved these guys a lot. Jimi Hendrix loved them and even played on one of their later albums as a guest appearance, which is interesting because you don't really see Jimi Hendrix on anything. And Robert Plant loves this band. This is one of Robert Plant's favorite albums of all time. And then also Neil Young was slotted to produce this album originally. A really young Neil Young, probably before he even went solo. So I'm hearing all this stuff, so I'm like, that is crazy to me that these guys had so many connections in the scene. And, we'll get into it a little more here, but it's it's so crazy that this album has had a second wind, because it came out and it did not do well. Mm-hmm. They had one hit song called 7 and 7 Is. Robert Plant has even covered it at live shows. And this album was an incredible disappointment, because they were kind of like a 60s garage rock band, and this is not that at all. Yeah. This album is, honestly, it is of the time, but the more I listened to it, the more I was like, this is a lot of flamenco sounding stuff in this album. Mm-hmm. A lot of orchestral parts, some jazzy kind of arrangements and stuff, and
there were a lot of cool orchestral parts that I did pick up on, but I still kind of say that it's very much of its time, because, they definitely did it in an interesting way, but there still was a lot of things around, a music around that time, I think. That was, the Beatles were doing that a lot at that time. The Beach Boys were doing that around that time. So I don't necessarily think it was super cutting edge or anything like that. I do think it was used a lot more later, but I think that it was kind of starting to come to its own around this time. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I agree and disagree with you on that. I agree in that so it is no mistaking that it came out in 1967. Yeah. Which is probably one of the most distinct sounding years ever. That is the peak of 60s excess that year. Even the Stones were doing albums like this in the 67.
Oh yeah.
Everyone was trying to ride that Sgt. Pepper's wave, which also came out this year. I don't know whether this or that came out first. But yeah, the instrumentation And honestly, the lyrics, like, it's kind of a doomer album. Like, the more I listen to the lyrics,
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
a doomer album.
Yeah.
I don't really know how much stuff of this. Sorry, folks. What, Jack? You want to explain what we mean by doomer album?
Doomer. So a doomer is someone who's just really down in the dumps, really sad. You don't want to be around them. They bring you down to. There's like, "Bleh, bleh." A lot of people are doomer about sports teams. A lot of people are doomer about like the environment and politics and stuff. And there's a difference between I think bringing up like valid points that are negative and just being like, well, we're all gonna be dead in 20 years anyway because the sun's gonna explode, so might as well, drink right now. Which, okay, I'm not gonna lie, as that came out of my mouth, that sounds kind of dope as shit. But yeah, a doomer is someone who's just brings you down, just an anchor on your emotions.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like the latter is kind of what Arthur Lee was going with this. He was he was kind of thinking like, hey, this is the last album I'm ever going to do. Interestingly enough, these guys were probably one of the first mixed race bands ever to be in the scene. I know Arthur Lee, the singer, and
now, Liam, you've gone
primary
on record about
songwriter.
saying that you don't like mixed race bands.
Hey guys, how's it going? I just want to go on record and say that was clearly a joke. Now, I know most of you probably know that. I have obviously never gone on record and said that. But in the interest of anyone who might not know me, this is kind of a funny channel. We joke around. It's not meant to be taken seriously. So just want to let you know this was clearly a joke. I'm going to leave it in. It was funny. It was good banter. Don't get upset by it because it's a joke. Thank you. No, I've never said that once.
Did you want to expand on that?
Yeah, I've never said that before. Yeah, like I said, the people who leave comments on this channel, absolutely insane. I support that fully. Yeah, we love diversity in music. I don't know what Jack's talking about. He's trying to make me look bad right now. It's not going to work. Remember, this is my YouTube channel. Jack wouldn't even have a voice on the platform if it weren't for me. So anyway, Arthur Lee was a lot of the songs, I think this is right around the time of the civil rights movement. I'm sure it's still very fresh in people's mind. And I think that impacted him a lot, as well as maybe seeing some of the bands around him having more success, mainly The Doors, who he helped get signed, I believe. So, and also the guy was interesting, man. Like, he later on in the 90s, well, first of all, the band basically broke up after this album. They did more albums afterwards, but this lineup, this is like their last album. And they didn't go back to this sound afterwards. Like, they went back to being kind of more of a rock band, I suppose. They're a 5-piece band, 3 guitarists, bass, drums. The Wrecking Crew, famous session musicians, played on some of this. So yeah, I mean, definitely interesting history behind this album. Want to get into the songs?
Yeah, I reckon we oughta.
Yeah, so first song, Alone Again Or, which is one of the only ones written by Bryan MacLean. Sorry, Brian, if I pronounced that wrong. He's a frequent viewer of the channel. We did know that about Love. Yeah. And what's your first impression when you turn the album on and this comes on?
I was so first time hearing it, I was like, okay, this is all right. I immediately was like, I immediately knew what the sound of the album was going to be, like in general, like, okay, yeah, this is old psychedelic rock, which I'm not usually the biggest fan of, but I can take it or leave it. I like where psychedelic rock later on went in like the 70s more, but I can appreciate the origins of it. I will say I did not like the verse part of this song. I just thought it was kind of like a little boring, and I kind of wish they had went a different direction with it. But the chorus and basically every other part of the song I liked a lot. I liked the orchestra in this song a lot. I think the hits were cool, but specifically the vocals of the verse I just kind of didn't necessarily like too much. I will say the vocals on this album were very mixed bag for me. There were some songs I'll get into later where I was like, oh hell yeah, this is cool. I like this a lot. But than other songs that I just didn't really like. And again, going back to it was the kind of the sound of the times. It was very much how a lot of people were singing, and it was either like, in my opinion, kind of like how he was singing on this, or and More Again, which we'll get into, or like you're like Janis Joplin, just like, you know, screaming your heart out. So I don't necessarily like the vocals of this album and kind of the bigger general music scene of the time.
Yeah, so this album came on, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I pretty much got an idea. I was like, I mean, you could tell from the album cover what this album is going to be,
true.
to be honest. But
Yeah, that is true.
you listen to it, and you know, I thought it was a good opener. I think it sets the tone for the album really well. And this is the song I actually knew beforehand.
Really?
Because UFO cover it on
Oh.
the Lights Out album. And they do it actually pretty damn close to the original, which is interesting. Another, band, not a huge band, obviously, but I would say they're better known than Love are.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, showing their appreciation for this band, which, leads me to think, like, okay, maybe these guys must have been doing something right for all these rock legends to pick up on it. But yeah, it is a little cheeky. It's a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I love it. I do like it though. But immediately, the orchestration and the trumpets and whatnot, like I said, very much a flamenco vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just, I like it as an opener. The next song, "A House Is Not a Motel," it's got a little bit of political commentary. I tried to do some research on the vocals and song meanings here, but there's not a ton of info. There's not videos of them playing any of this live in of the era, and I can't even tell if there's different singers. Like, I know Arthur Lee is doing the bulk of it.
I feel like I was also trying to think that if there was different singers, I would, if I was like just to guess, I would think yes, but I don't know. Like maybe he's just sings a bunch of different styles. Like you said, I did try and do like a little bit of research. Obviously, I didn't have as much time to do as much research as Liam did, but I didn't see that there was different singers. But it kind of sounds like there is.
Yeah, I think Bryan MacLean, he wrote a couple ones on here, including the first one. So I don't know if it seemed like there may have been a power struggle in the band as well between him trying to be like, I want to have more of a voice, and then Arthur Lee, who seemed like he was like kind of like the artistic visionary of the band. But anyway, "House Is Not a Motel" just got a little bit of political commentary. Another song with really interesting lyrics, but much more upbeat. And I like this song a lot, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
The guitar solo, which I believe is Johnny Echols, he seems to be the lead guitar player in the band. He rips at the end, man. That's a great
I was also I will say this is probably my favorite song on the album. It's definitely up there. It's definitely probably top 2 or 3. I liked it was more upbeat. I really liked the guitar solo and also the drums. They had like a little it wasn't a drum solo, but it was like a repeated drum fill, which is really cool. And then they just kind of built the song up around that towards the end, which I liked a lot. I can definitely understand why, again, going back to like your favorite band's favorite band, I can definitely understand why some of the hard rock bands of the 70s and the 80s liked this a lot and got a lot of appreciation over it. But yeah, I like this one a lot. I think it was a good step up from the opener.
I'm glad you mentioned the drums because I don't think the 60s production does it justice, but the rhythm section, they kill it on this album, man. Like, the band was super talented.
Yeah, I also noticed that too.
I know Hal Blaine and Carol Kay, who were the famous rhythm section, did some stuff. I couldn't find what songs. Then I wrote these guys' names down because I wanted to remember them because, I mean,
they do good.
They're doing good, and they're not like very super famous. So Ken Forssi is on bass guitar, and Michael Stewart Ware, is on drums and percussion. Anyway, yeah, I like this one a lot. I liked it. It was nice to go into a different vibe, and then you get "And More Again," which is a ballad, and I fucking like this song a lot, dude. This is when I heard this song, I'm like, oh hell yeah.
I liked it. I didn't, again, going back to his vocals, didn't really like his vocals that much. And also, there was some lines that just like rhythmically he sung that I did not like how he was singing it rhythmically. But I think it was good for what it was. I liked the strings a lot in this song. But I just didn't like the way he was really singing in this song that well. And in a ballad, I think that's extremely important, is how your vocals are. So definitely didn't like it as much as House is Not a Motel, but I didn't really hate it that much. I think the worst songs on this album all kind of blended together to me. That was kind of the biggest problem I have with this album as a whole, is I think a lot of it is kind of forgettable. Not going into the later part of the album, but especially in the later parts, there's a lot that are just blend together and I don't really remember too much. Like, I listened to the album 3 times all the way through, and there's still some songs I'm like, I don't even remember this one, I feel like. But and Morgan, again, I didn't hate it. Wasn't my favorite though.
Yeah, it is. I can see how the vocals are device. I like the vocals on this one. I think they match the vibe pretty. It's kind of a pretty song, but also a little eerie, which I think it was interesting and a theme of the album. Then you got the Daily Planet, another upbeat one. This isn't one of my favorites, but yeah, I thought it was solid. Kind of more of. This is probably one of the most basic ones on the album. It doesn't sound too crazy. Compared to some of the other stuff. Not crazy, and like they're not like a crazy band, but I thought they made a lot of interesting choices, arrangement wise and lyric wise. What do you think about this one?
I enjoyed it. Excuse me, Liam.
Yeah, you're excused.
I enjoyed it fairly well, I guess. I do again think House is Not a Motel is still better than this, because like you said, it was like kind of upbeat again. Daily Planet, that is, and I think House Not Motel is better than that. I wasn't super crazy about it. Like you said, it was kind of a little bit generic, but yeah, it wasn't like offensively bad.
Yeah, this one apparently they claim Neil Young helped write this one. Neil Young denies it though. Apparently Neil Young. It seemed like he originally had a big part in this album, but then he kind of decided he's like, I don't want to be producer, which I found interesting. That like, man, that's really
especially a young Neil Young.
Yeah, interesting that this album is part of his lore. Yeah. You know, we've come so close to talking about Neil Young.
The NYCU.
Yeah. We've gone deep into the NYCU on the channel so far. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And then Old Man. This is the other Bryan MacLean one. This is another slow one. I assume it's about an old man passing down some of his wisdom, maybe. Mm-hmm. This one is another one. It's more mellow. Here's the thing. I can see what Jax is saying about this album. Like I said, I listened to this one probably 10, 15 times, this album, and, you know, some of the songs absolutely do blend in together, which it can be a bad thing. It can also be something where you're kind of, some albums you might just listen to for the vibe.
Yeah.
And in that case, and I do think this is one of those albums where I'm kind of listening to this for the overall vibe. There are obviously some standouts, and they come in the track list, and you're, and I think strategically, you know, there are spotlight songs on here. And the rest of it kind of blends together. I agree with Jack on that. Do you like this one?
I'm gonna say no, only because, well, not only because, but a part of the reason is because every time I see it, I just really want to listen to Old Man by Neil Young. Go back to Neil Young, and I'm just like, God, man, this is not as good a song as that, and I'm kind of sad.
I won't argue with that. Old Man by Neil Young is better than this one.
But and again, going back to like, I'm having even trouble remembering the song. Like, it just blended, it all kind of blended together. Well, not all of it, but this is definitely part of the ones that did blend together. So, no, I'm gonna go with no. I didn't like it.
Okay. Next one, Red Telephone. This is one of the highlights for me.
Absolutely, I agree. I like
This is
one
a cool
lot.
song.
I like this one a lot.
This to me, and it closes the first side. Man, this is a really cool song.
It was cool.
And this one, on repeated listens, became a favorite of mine. Really weird, eerie thing. This is definitely the best lyrical song on this. Like Arthur Lee was an interesting lyricist. Like he really seemed like he had a lot to say. He kind of strikes me as like one of those like genius guys that didn't quite get to where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think whether you enjoy his music or not, I feel like most people would agree that the guy was at the very least talented and had something to say.
Almost just based off vibes, almost like a Syd Barrett kind of, I think, where he was like a suffering artist who maybe didn't quite, like you said, get where he wanted to go, but did have a lot to say, and everybody who like knew him or was around him was like, this guy was fucking nuts. So he kind of gave me, in this album again, like I said, very early Pink Floyd. So I kind of can see that comparison.
Yeah. And like and we'll get back to the song in a second, but like he was a guy, like he was doing this his whole life. I don't really know how much money he truly made from Love. I imagine he did okay back then because people gave bands money back then, and clearly people were buying this record because it's been covered a lot, and
it was remastered in 2015.
Yeah, it was remastered. I mean, obviously it's had a recurrence because it gets so much critical acclaim, but he went to like jail and like for like 6 years for like having a gun like in the 90s. Like the guy was definitely like. And then, I mean, he continued to play up until he died. It seemed like he had trouble keeping the band together. But yeah, I like this song a lot, man. I like when he says his name is Bill. That line always stood out.
Yeah.
I was like, nice. And then I think this is another like kind of like civil rights oriented song, which honestly you don't get a ton of that from rock bands in the 60s, and like from this guy's perspective, who was a black man in a dealing with that stuff. I'm sure. I mean, he's from L.A. It's not like he was from Birmingham, Alabama, but still, I mean, stack that on top of like whatever other issues he was dealing with. That he was like 22, 24 years old, and for that he was a very mature songwriter, and he also thought he was going to die. So this is one of those songs where it really is. Like I feel like he's taking you into his brain. He says something about being painted white. I don't know if that was like a racial thing or not. That's what I picked up from it.
Was, yeah.
And then he throws in a little rap at the end there.
I don't know that.
He throws in a little rap, like maybe
that was kind of creepy, like a creepy like schoolboy. Like,
and it might be a stretch to call it a rap, but it was definitely pointing in that direction. I don't know if you noticed that at all.
I mean, I didn't think it was a rap, but I definitely noticed it.
It's a little. So tell us about this song for you, the Red Telephone.
I liked it a lot. I thought it was really cool. I like you were saying lyrically, I thought it was really good. I kind of liked the eerie vibe that it gave off. That was capped off by, like I was saying, like schoolboy chant rhyme thing at the end, which was bordering on like cringy, but I don't think quite got there. But there was a part of me that was like, is this cool? I think so, but I'm not totally sure.
I'm with you, but I think it's cool now.
I agree. I will say the first time I heard this album, I was like, did not like it nearly as much. As I came back to it, I liked it a lot more.
Me too. This one is a grower.
Yeah,
which is a good thing. Those are some of the best albums, to be honest with you, in my opinion. The next one is these guys have some wild song titles.
Yeah,
This next one you can't even really see on your streaming service.
I tried many times. I was driving. I was like, this is dangerous.
This one is called Maybe the People Would Be on Times or Between Clark and Hilldale.
Now, that to me, maybe I'm just not smart, but that to me just seems like almost like a I am the walrus type situation where it's like I'm just going to make a really long song title and what if you glean anything from it other than I just want it to be long for the sake of being long, then you're stupid.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. But I like the song a lot. This is
I did
another
too. I
upbeat
liked
one.
it
This
too.
one has almost a mariachi vibe.
Yeah.
It's got cool good solos. By the way, the acoustic guitar work on this album is phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is a really
liked
good.
it.
We said this about CSN as well, but that was another really good acoustic
I
guitar.
will say
album.
I like the acoustic guitar or the acoustic guitar on CSN better.
Well, it's very different style. This, whoever it was, I don't know. They had
This
three
is like
guys playing
flamenco.
guitar.
You were right. You were
Yeah,
right.
there's a lot of flamenco vibes. This one has kind of like a mariachi sound. This song.
Yeah.
You liked it too, then?
I did. I thought it was really cool, but again, I spent fucking most of the time trying to figure out what the song title was. But I did. This is the only other song that I think could give "House Is Not a Motel" a run for its money as best song.
Those are the two ones that when you first put this album on, you're like, oh, these are the highlights.
Yeah, yeah, for
These
sure.
are-
As I got more into the album, Red Telephone kind of got more of a spotlight, but like you said, first listen, second listen, and third listen, "House Not a Motel" and this song are the two highlights for me. I liked when they were more upbeat. The vocals were a little bit almost not like grungy, but like a little bit more like hard rocky. And by a little bit, I mean a very little bit. They're not hard rocky by like really any stretch of the imagination. It's just more hard than like and more again.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
you know.
He started scat singing too, along with the guitar.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, which was cool.
But real quick, Liam, do you mind if I take my jacket off?
Go ahead, go ahead.
It's a little hot.
Yeah, it is a little. We could turn air on, but also I don't want to add noise pollution going.
Yeah, I wouldn't dare.
Yeah, you look good, man.
Thank you.
You look good. You look good, man.
Thank you. I
But
appreciate
yeah, man, it's kind of funny. We have a lot of the similar. I didn't know what at all. What I think I kind of knew what you would think about this album, but
I thought you were gonna like this album more than me, and I still think that probably is.
well,
true.
we'll see because we don't talk about this before we. This is all raw. This is
a Liam Heuser behind the scenes moment. We contractually, legally, are not allowed to discuss these.
yeah.
Before
We
the
signed
video.
a NDA about this.
We did.
But yeah, man, this is a cool acoustic guitar. Let me show the audience. We are in a studio. Maybe we'll give you a little behind the scenes footage. This is a cool acoustic guitar. I didn't learn any love songs. I'm not gonna. This is a resonator. Dobro. I don't know what you'd really call it.
Play something twangy.
It's in tune.
It is.
I was gonna try and
surprised
play
by
some
that,
love,
actually.
but I didn't really learn any. And also, their songs actually seem kind of difficult to play.
Yeah.
But next song, "Live and Let Live."
I enjoyed this song.
I
too.
enjoy this. This one grew on me. a
I
lot.
enjoy. Yeah, it did. Yeah, this one grew on me as well. Like I said, it's a grower. This album, but yeah, no, I enjoyed this album or this song. Originally, side 2 of the album, I was like, everything from Old Man on just sounds the same to me. But then, like I said, I listened to it a little bit, 2 and 3 times, and I started to kind of appreciate it, the side 2 a little bit more. But yeah, no, I enjoyed this song. I enjoyed this song a lot.
Yeah, this is a good one, man. I kind of felt the same way about the second side of the album. But yeah, I mean, upon further listen, and I mean, it's kind of hard to say because, like, the more you listen to any album, the more you're gonna get it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that means the more you're gonna enjoy it. I could say.
Oh, there's
sure.
a few albums that the more I listened to it, the more I was like, oh, I do not like this album.
Yeah, and this isn't one of those for me.
Yeah.
This is definitely not one of those. The next one has another crazy song title. It's called "The Good Humor Man. He Sees Everything Like This." There's another kind of slower one.
You know what that sounds like? On your phone when you just press the middle button a bunch.
Yeah.
That's what that title sounds like to me.
Yeah, but I like this one too, man. It's a little slower. I like the little kind of horn stabs on it. God, this album must have been expensive to make with all these session guys.
Was this the song again? I kind of forgot a little bit. But was this the song that at the end the horns went like insane?
Yeah, they had a little glitch at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. But other than that, like I said, I mean, I don't even really remember this one. It kind of blended in. The last three songs to me kind of blended all in together to me.
I completely disagree because the next one, Bummer in the Summer, I thought was not good.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I
There's one that I would describe as a little ditty. It was a little ditty.
yeah, I could see that.
This one to me just didn't fit on the album.
Yeah.
This one kind of is of every song on this album probably the grungiest vibe. Where it's a bit of a liberal use of the word
Right.
grungy, but
again, for 1967.
right. Yeah, I mean, look, we could go all day and be like, compare this to, stuff that comes out later. I cut these 60s albums a bit of slack myself because
Right, yeah.
people were not really doing albums until probably 1965 is when the album became like, okay, we're going to actually try and fill an album.
Yeah.
Worth of every song is worth the same. It used to be like, okay, here are the singles, and Elvis, here, go record a bunch of other songs because we need to fill up this 30-minute LP. I thought I didn't hate it, but I thought it was fine. This is probably the most upbeat. Well, no, it's the most basic song for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of doing the rapid fire vocals again. He definitely could do a lot with his voice.
Yes, he could.
I wouldn't say he was like a virtuoso singer, but I think there's something respectful to be said about someone who can do a lot with their voice despite maybe being limited. I don't want to make it seem like I think he was a bad singer, because I don't. I think he had a good voice, but I think Arthur Lee, was really good at picking a vibe for a song and then adjusting his voice accordingly.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even going into what we were talking about earlier, where it's almost like there's almost like two kind of different albums mini albums in this album. One that's like more upbeat and heavy, with songs like It's Not a Motel, Red Telephone, things like that. I guess Red Telephone's not too heavy, but Daily Planet, and then the slower ones like Ann Morgan, Alone Again, or things like that. And I think he fits both those vibes pretty well vocally. I don't really, like I was saying, like the more slower ones vocally as much as I like the more upbeat ones. But I still think he does a pretty serviceable job for both of them.
Yeah, the last song, You Set the Scene, is a highlight for me. Again, first few times listening to this, it wasn't exactly my favorite. I really like that it starts one way, and there's it's kind of like two different songs, this one, right?
Yeah.
And that part that he switches into is like this. That I thought was a really good way to close the album. This is another one where it seems like he might be dealing with a little bit of mortality. And honestly, man, if there's any Love fans that watch this video and want to tell us what we're wrong about, please do. Because I'm genuinely curious because I would like to learn more about these fuckers.
Me too. They do seem like an interesting band, especially Arthur Lee. Seem like interesting band, like lore wise. I wasn't too crazy. I think just talking about the album in general now. Do you want to get into overall?
Did you like the last song?
Oh, right. Yeah, I did. Like I said, the last three kind of all blended together for me. I think by the end of the album, I was kind of like ready to be done with it.
All right, well.
But I do remember thinking this one was a pretty good ender, but definitely not like top three song for me on the album.
All right, well, we went through the track listing. Why don't you say we discuss it? Jack and I here, we're a couple wild guys. We're not afraid to call something out we don't like. We're not afraid to call something overrated.
Mm-hmm.
We're not afraid to say when we really like something. We're not afraid to glaze something either, okay? This is completely opinion-based, this series.
This project.
This project, which is cool because I feel like it's a good thing to take things that are either very critically acclaimed, right? like this, or really popular, as in a bunch of people are listening to it because it's popular, maybe sheep, if you will. I think it's good to be able to, um, like kind of like take a look at this and be like, okay, like, why is this so acclaimed? Why do so many people like this? Is it warranted that to be that way? Because there's a ton of music out there that's great that people don't listen to or will never hear because they won't get turned on to it by like a Rolling Stone
Right.
kind of publication or Pitchfork or Anthony Fantano even,
Yeah.
that are still good because they don't get told about it. They don't feel like they should be listening to this.
Yeah.
So, Jack, let's start this. What did you like about this album?
I really appreciated that it was, like I said, very much a product of its time. There were some aspects that I'm like, okay, I can see how this was developed upon later by like other bands. But I enjoyed. If you're trying to see what music was like in 1967, I feel like you can put this album on, and it's a pretty good synopsis of it. I thought the production was really cool. I liked the orchestra and uh, horns and strings and that a lot. I thought that was a pretty cool use of those instruments. Not necessarily, you don't see a whole lot of that back in the day. I think there is better music that was made around this time. I don't think it was like the best of its class, but I think it definitely served its job. It did its job, and I did appreciate that.
So what I like about this album is that I would say it was a heavy album for the time. Okay, it is very much. Like I said, there's no mistaking this from 1967. But I feel like Love, and specifically Arthur Lee, had a bit more to say than other bands of the time. There are bands of the time I certainly like more. Okay, this is a stacked era for good bands. You're approaching like one of the best, if not the best era of music in the late 60s, you could argue.
Yeah.
Just from terms of what people were doing, exploring new sounds. You had Bob Dylan, the Beatles, Rolling Stones, Jimi Hendrix. You also had Motown. Like, there was no lack of good stuff here. So I think when listening to this, my thought was, okay, is this just like a random album people like, or is there really something to latch onto here and separate them from other bands? And the more I listened to this, the more it grew on me. And the more I just thought, okay, yeah, I honestly, I think there is a lot to be said. I think this is at the very least, a artistic statement. I think a lot of psychedelic stuff is goofy. I don't think this is one of those things. I mean, there's goofy parts about all psychedelic music, kind of, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a cheeky genre.
Oh.
I don't mean that as a bad way. I like a lot of psychedelic rock and psychedelic pop, but his more serious lyrics and his more kind of just ridiculous outlook, it seemed like, on his own life, while also seeming like this guy who was losing his damn mind, while also having good social commentary. I thought it was cool. I thought the band was really good. The horns were really cool. The mariachi and flamenco elements were a really cool addition that I was not expecting to hear at all. And I would also say, unique. I think it's a unique album. While being of the time, the more I listened to this, the more I was like, okay, I think I get this album. That's what I liked about it. Now, what I didn't like about it is that for a 40-minute album, it just seemed long to me, man.
I agree with that.
It just seemed like a long, and that's like the prime album length for me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it did seem long. I don't know. A lot of the songs did blend in together. I would say that's what I don't like about it. I don't think every single song is a smash hit. For my own listening pleasures. What did you think? What didn't you like about it?
Yeah, kind of similar. It did seem long to me. I think it blended in on itself a lot. I think it also kind of blended together with the sound of the scene at the time. a lot. I do think that, like I was saying, there's other albums and bands that were doing this sound better around that time. So, and also just like better like music around that time. Isn't necessarily Love's fault because, like you were saying, this is one of the best like eras ever for music. So it was very hard to do that. But at the same time, I think it's one of those albums that people appreciate probably a lot more than they like, if that makes sense. I think that we also do not have the benefit of having been alive at that time. Like I'm sure if we were alive when it came out, we probably would have been like, "This is crazy," but um, you know, like psychedelic rock, I think just kind of got a lot better as the years went on than this time anyway. So, like when Pink Floyd's '70s run was out, when it exists, it's like I don't necessarily even see the point in listening to this because it's just I don't think it's good. So yeah, that's I guess kind of.
Well, see, I hear what you're saying, and don't get me wrong, I would rather listen to '70s Pink Floyd than this. I mean, that's an extremely high watermark to compare this to.
I know, yeah.
But I don't really see. They're both psychedelic, but not in the same way. This is more like Pink Floyd were like kind of like a prog band in my head.
Yeah.
And they utilized their space, in their music and themes and different vibes. But like to me, it sounds a lot different. To me, like.
Oh no, it's not. I'm not saying. I'm not trying to say like they sound alike. I'm just trying to say like. If you like this, I feel like there's just better music that exists that you know.
Well, I would compare
like
this more to like Jefferson Airplane, the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I think comparing it to that stuff and not comparing it to it when rock got like really refined and there was like bands like Deep Purple and Pink Floyd who were doing stuff that was a lot more bombastic. The playing was more crazy. The vocalists were getting more. The front man started existing, like the classic front man. Like I think, and if I'm comparing, I would rather listen to this than I would like. Trying to think of a band that I could compare this. I'm not a psychedelic rock expert. I don't like this as much as the Beach Boys. That's for sure. I obviously don't like this as much as
Jimi Hendrix.
Right. I don't like this as much as Jimi Hendrix. I don't like this as much as, the Stones around this era, probably, even though I don't think that was the Stones' best era, but they're still the Stones. But I would rather listen to this than, maybe Jefferson Airplane.
Yeah, I would probably rather listen to this than, I would say, maybe, Janis Joplin.
Okay.
Janis Joplin kind of is different. So
Yeah. Well, I would probably agree. I'd probably rather listen to this than Janis Joplin, although I have nothing wrong against Janis Joplin. I think my point is I just I thought Arthur Lee was an interesting character.
He definitely
and
is.
I thought he had more to say than, honestly, a lot of the guys from that era. Even bands that I like more, I would say, okay, Arthur Lee had a better artistic vision. Maybe it didn't get executed fully to the extent of, let's say, what John Lennon was trying to do, let's say, right? And, it's hard to compare people to the Beatles, because the Beatles are, the high watermark of...
Right.
And like I said, I'm not saying I like this more than the Beatles, but I'm a little more interested in what Arthur Lee is saying here than maybe I am Paul McCartney.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I'm saying that, and as I'm saying that, I'm, fully ready for people to threaten to kill me.
I'm about to.
Yeah, and I don't have anything against the Beatles. I feel like the Beatles are just the ones to compare people to from this era, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. I think he had more interesting. I'll just say it. I think he had more interesting stuff to say than pretty much everybody from this era, including Syd Barrett. Who, I don't know, I think Syd Barrett is an example of someone who was really psychedelic, and yes, they had stuff to say, but it came across as you kind of you're just throwing nonsense together.
Yeah.
I don't think this was that, to me. You may have to dig a little deeper, but I like what the guy was trying to do. I like what he's trying to do. And if that makes me a bad person, then sue me. I'm an Arthur Lee fan. I like Arthur Lee.
You're an apologist.
I'm an Arthur Lee apologist. I think he's an interesting guy. I'd like to learn more about him. Okay? So, what's your favorite song on this?
I will probably say Home is Not a Motel. Followed closely behind by Red Telephone.
I would say, actually, Jack, my favorite song is And More Again. That was the first song I listened to that really stuck out to me, and I really liked it. I'm a sucker for a nice ballad. If you watch this channel, you know I'm a sucker for a nice ballad. I like the vocals on this one, Jack.
I don't.
Well, I do, okay? And this is my damn YouTube channel, so you're going to sit and listen to me talk about it. I thought it was just a nice little song. I thought that, unlike some of the other ones, it was very simplistic in nature, while still maintaining its artistic integrity and fitting into the album well. I do like A House Is Not a Motel, and the Red Telephone is the one that gets voted for me as, like, this one, I need to listen to that one more.
Yeah.
Because that's a really cool song, Red Telephone. I'm glad you liked that one, too.
I did. Well, Liam, may I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Will you listen to this album again?
Well, I'll go into that after I give my final score, I believe. My least favorite song on it, I would say, is Bummer in the Summer. Do you have a least favorite, And More Again?
I would probably honestly say Old Man I did not like.
Okay, Old Man is not one of my more favorites. So, I guess let's get into our score of this album, and whether I would listen to it again. I want you to give your score first out of 10.
Okay. Out of 10, I will give this a 6 out of 10. Probably closer to a 5 than a 7. But I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I do think it's a good album. I think it has its merits. I think for its time that it came out, it was very impressive. But it's just not necessarily for me. Getting into whether I would listen to it, I would not listen to this album again. I might listen to a song or two off of it in the future, but I don't think I'm going to listen to this album again.
So, this one I was having trouble scoring, Jack.
I was having trouble too. I just want to listen.
I was a wreck. I was between two. I was between giving this a 7 out of 10 and an 8 out of 10. And this guy's a harsh critic over here, okay? I'm a man of the people here. I'm a people pleaser. And I find when I listen to these albums a lot, they usually grow on me. Now, I'm sure in the future we'll get some albums that I'm like, this is just fucking...
Long Road Out of Eden.
Yeah, this is... Yeah,
God
like
Be
that.
Satan.
Yeah, so albums like that where I'm just like, bro, this is just, to me, just horrible.
Yeah.
This is not one of those. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a really good album. Will I listen to it again? Yeah, I will...
It's all right, Liam. Take your time.
I would almost think we're giving this like a 7.5 out of 10, really. That would be like my honest rating. I just think that it's just such a cool piece of like music history. It's cool to hear it like a cult classic kind of album and get into the mind of people who were influenced by this, because some of my favorite guys, Jimi Hendrix, Neil Young, Robert Plant,
The Doors,
they all love this crap. And I'm like, all right, maybe there's something I'm missing, because when Robert Plant says something is good, I'm going to be like, okay, what? This guy, he knows ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a listen. So it's not going to be like in regular rotation for me, but like the Red Telephone, like a song like that is a very interesting song I might put on. And I imagine some of these melodies will be stuck in my head through the next couple weeks here. So, yeah, I'm giving it the same score I gave Crosby, Stills, and Nash, which is an 8 out of 10. Although I'll say I think this is a more interesting album. Although I do think Crosby, Stills, and Nash is a little more listenable for me. Not that this isn't listenable. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Now, Jack, let's get to the part everyone's been waiting for, man. You think this is overrated, underrated, properly rated?
Well, I would say it's extremely underrated.
Oh, okay.
Extremely
I was not expecting that. Go ahead.
Mainly because who the fuck is talking about Forever Changes by Love?
Well, it's always showing up on these critics. The critics love it.
Yeah, but like I had never heard of this album before. I don't think many people had ever heard of this album before. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a basic little bitch.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've heard of it before, but I never
heard of it.
listened to it.
But
before.
I think it's very underrated.
Now, do you think it's underrated based off just of not a lot of people know it, or do you think
Yeah.
that more people should give this
I think
a
more
listen?
people. I think more people should listen to it. I'll
Yeah.
say that. Yeah.
I'm a little torn here.
It's not gonna be,
Because-
let me say this. It's not gonna be like the first album I recommend to people. I don't think I'm ever really gonna recommend. You should listen to Forever Changes by Love. But if somebody says, like, oh, I listened to this album, I would have a conversation with them about it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm a little torn here on what I think this is, because I've gone in all three directions here of whether I thought this was overrated, underrated, or it's fine, how it's viewed. Because on the side of it's overrated, I do think there are a lot better albums than this. I don't know that, like, whenever you see this on like a top 500 album, and being that it's like always on there, it seems like. Not always, but it's on there a good bit. Like
Yeah.
Rolling Stone have it on there, Digital Dream Door have it on there. It's a critics album, is the
Right.
thing.
Yeah, it is.
Those albums usually always for me. I'm like, come on,
Right. I agree.
come on. Now, but then I listen to more. And I'm like, this is actually pretty good. And this guy, like I said, I've said this like a million times. Arthur Lee had some cool musical and lyrical ideas. I'm like, this is pretty good. I like this more than a bit of other psychedelic 60s albums. Then on the other side, I'm like, okay, well, what is it maybe just properly rated? Because I think it's like top 20 albums ever? No. But I do think it's a really solid album, and trying to take my own biases out of it, of what I score it. I'll say, you know what? I'll agree with you. I think it's underrated. I think it deserves... I'll say it's underrated. I think it's a cool album. It's a grower.
Yeah.
It's a cool artistic piece, and it's not artsy in a way of like a bunch of like college kids who come from rich families, and then they make like this artsy album,
Right.
and they actually suck, but they just are artsy, so they seem cool to people. Like that's what I thought this was going to be, and I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It's a cool cult classic album. Give it a listen. If you don't know a lot of 60s psychedelic stuff, I don't know if this is what I would say listen to first. This is more like if you're familiar with if you like it a lot, definitely give this album a listen. If you're kind of like Jack and I, who seem to be a little bit indifferent towards that sound, I would say I'm indifferent towards it.
I'm indifferent.
I don't love it. I also don't dislike it.
Yeah.
It's got its moments. I would say give this one a shot. It's probably one of the better albums in that field, outside of like the mega Sgt. Pepper's kind of.
I would agree with that.
So that was Love Forever Changes. Jack, any closing thoughts?
Not really. No.
Did you enjoy doing this one?
I've enjoyed other albums more, but I didn't hate it.
Is this your least favorite album we've done so far, or the Pixies take that?
Pixies was taken. Yeah.
You like this one more than the Pixies?
I do.
Wow, that one still shocked me. Jack's had some takes on this channel that I've been like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like.
What? Liam, what's my hottest take?
Your hottest take. Physical Graffiti was a hot take, but I know that you probably love that album.
I do. I mean, that's Led Zeppelin, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Led Zeppelin has a bad album.
So that, to me, I couldn't include that. The Pixies album was, I would have thought that you would have liked that one more than I did, because I feel like you're kind of the punk rocker.
Your dad had words with me about that.
Oh yeah. I guess he likes that album.
Yeah. Shout out to Liam's dad.
But you did have good reasoning for that. You're like, I just can't get past the vocals.
Didn't
I'm
like the
okay.
vocals.
Well, I'm not going to defend Francis Black as a vocalist. I liked what he was doing. I would have to go Grace Under Pressure being your least favorite Rush album.
Yeah.
Now, some people are like, that's one of the like the best Rush album. I've heard people say that. I don't agree with that,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely didn't think it was their worst album. I thought it had a lot of good songs on it.
I mean, it's been such a long time since he did those. I don't even remember, but yeah, that's probably fair.
Also, I like just circling back to when we did the Taylor Swift video. The amount you liked Midnights.
I did like Midnights.
I was like,
I will say now, I probably would switch 1989 to Midnights, but Midnights would probably still be number 2.
yeah. I mean,
And also I would move either the second or the third one up. I actually do think about this a lot. This is not even for the bit. I do think about the Taylor Swift rankings sometimes, and there's 3 things I would change. 1, I would switch 1989 and Midnights. So 1989 would be 1, Midnights would be 2. 2, I would move, I believe Speak Now, whichever one has You Belong With Me, I think Speak Now. I would move that up, like a fair amount. And 3, I would move Reputation down, possibly to last place.
yeah, I would just drop everything down at the score too, because I'm like, I gave like 1989 an 8 out of 10.
To be fair, that is a good album, though.
Yeah, but I'm like, would I rather listen to? What else have I given an 8 out of 10 to? Like certain Rush albums.
See, this an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, like I'd probably rather listen to this than that.
Yeah, but it's different. Like it is like a different 8 out of 10, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm just trying to get to a point where everything is just my opinion. I'm trying to make it so I'm not taking. Fair. I'm trying to make it more just about what I genuinely think, versus like what I find good in it. So. Yeah. Next album we're doing is REM, Automatic for the People. Pretty acclaimed album. I like REM. I don't know that album though.
I'm excited about that one because REM I feel like is a band that I've always wanted to get more into, but I never have.
Yeah, kind of a band that's had kind of 2 eras too. I feel like, and I'm not an expert. I mean, I obviously know all the hits, but like they kind of started off as, like this kind of like one of the original alternative bands, and then they turned into. And that's in the 80s. Then in the 90s, they kind of became like a pretty big band that was
corporate sellouts.
Yeah, a radio staple. So I guess maybe, I think that might be their corporate sellout album. I could be wrong. REM fans, please let us know.
No, don't. I want to be. I want to make my own decision.
Yeah, never mind. Don't comment. I'll delete your comment. But Jack, thanks for doing this with me.
Liam, thanks for having me on, man.
And then Jack's going away for a little bit. Probably next week sometime. Whenever he gets back, we'll probably run off with REM.
Yeah,
I'll
try and listen to it while I'm away.
Yeah, I'll listen to it probably a gazillion times. But yeah, until next time, guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.